everyone. It's time to wind down our show today with another mini-myth with Charlie. This one originates with the Ashanti tribe of West Africa, but it's spread all over the world. And it's called Why Anansi Owns All the Stories. The sky god Nyame was holder of all stories. He wouldn't share with anyone, which made Anansi mad. He offered to buy them, was willing to pay any price. So Nyame gave Anansi some impossible tasks. You'll have to catch Anini, the massive scary python, and then I want the hornets that come from Marlborough. Afterwards you'll need the leopard called Osebo, and Mwatia the fairy should be the last to go. These requests were crazy, no one could ever do that, but Anansi wasn't scared, he puffed his chest up big. That's not a challenge, I could catch them all now, I'll even bring my mother as payment for the tails. And so Anansi set off to ask his wife for advice. Nyame didn't think he'd even manage one. Anansi's wife Aso was terribly clever, and so she helped Anansi to complete every task. First he gathered vines up and waited by the river, arguing with Aso about the python's size. Anini slivered over to see the cause of the fuss, and Anansi asked the python how big he really was. You see, my darling wife here thinks that you were longer than this branch we found on our journey here. I'm not so sure. Would you mind comparing? And Anini lay down beside the branch to see. Quickly they tied him up to the branch with their vines, then carried him up towards Nyame's home. Nyame was unsure that Anansi would catch more, and sent him out to find the next of his tasks. Anansi asked Aso what he should do to catch them. She gave him a gourd filled up with cold water. He sprinkled some water over the hornet's nest, and poured all the rest all over himself. The hornets came home to see their soggy nest next to Anansi, who was sopping wet. He warned them that there had been some awful rain, and said that they could hide from it inside of his gourd. The hornets all thanked him for offering such respite. They all flew inside to hide from bad weather. Anansi closed up the gourd and carried them to Nyame, who accepted the gift and sent him on his way. The next one was Osebo, who Anansi knew. So he dug a trap outside his house and covered it with leaves. He came back the next day to find Osebo in there. The leopard was trapped and asked his friend for help. Anansi teased his friend for falling down the hole, and offered to reach down to help him climb up out. When Osebo looked up to catch hold of Anansi, the spider knocked him out and carried him away. Nyame wasn't worried that Anansi had done so well. He didn't think that he would really carry on, because this was a crazy price to own all of the stories. But Anansi had a mission, and so he carried on. Mwatia the fairy was last of all these captures, and Anansi asked his wife for advice again. She gave him a little doll that he could use as bait, as well as some yummy mashed yam on a plate. Anansi covered the doll in sticky tar, and set the plate in front of it as if the doll would eat. When the fairy saw it, Mwatia asked for some yam, and Anansi made the doll nod to share its lovely treat. Mwatia thanked the doll and expected a reaction, but Anansi didn't move it and made the fairy mad. She slapped the doll right in the face and caught her hand in tar. So Anansi caught Moatia and carried her away. At last he sought his mother and asked her very nicely if she would see Niame and help Anansi win. Yanisia, his mother, was happy to oblige him, and he brought her to the Sky Palace where Niame lived. Niame was so impressed with all Anansi managed, he called all his generals and princes there to see. Anansi was gifted with every single story, and the spider decided to share with you and me. The end.